Right, testing, testing. Is there anybody there? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Or Guy, or whoever's watching, I don't know. Hopefully somebody can hear this. If they can, type it in the box below. Or to the side. I think it's to the side on this. It's not YouTube. So it should be below. Right, this is just a quick test stream, just to make sure that I've actually got my my setup working properly. Hopefully I've done that, and you guys can hear me. I've got one person in the stream as a test person who said they could hear me, so that's cool. This is No Limits 2, for those of you who have played it. For those of you that haven't, it's a roller coaster simulator, as it says across there. Those of you familiar to my channel would have seen that I have started using this game more often. I've made 2 coasters already, one called Psycho, one called Thunder, and I've built a third one called Manic Miner. And if I take you into the editor now, you'll be able to see all 3 of them. Hopefully. They should all be there still. I don't know where they'd have gone if they're not there anymore. Just gotta wait for it to load. Takes its sweet time. I need to clear up my hard drive actually. It's getting a bit clogged up with all the recordings that I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, hopefully it'll load up any time now, and we'll be able to see what's going on. I think I know why it's taking a long time. It's got 3 coasters to load, which doesn't help. There we go. Okay, this is Manic Miner. See, it's a little bit different to any of you who've watched the first video that I made. This coaster is looking a lot different now. There's a whole new section added, which is this one here. Where the tracks used to merge here, they no longer do. They go down one more little corner before hitting the brakes and going into the merging switch, which is here. That was originally designed to stop them having to wait whilst the track switched, but that doesn't seem to have worked. They stop here instead and wait for the switch. But I'm not too bothered about that because they come in at a slightly slower speed, which means that, you know, it's not too much of a problem. Right, some other changes over here. New ending to the ride. We've got a double helix instead of the single one that you guys might remember. Used to swerve around here and then go up into what was a longer brake section. Whereas now it goes into an upward spiral followed by a downward spiral. It then goes up again and then dips down just for a little bit more air time before rising up into a shorter trim brake, which doesn't slow the trains down as much because that's purely what the lift hill is for. Over here we have new water section. There's no splash effects or anything like that yet. I might add them in at a later date, but for now I haven't bothered. You see it swerves around and then goes up into the brake section up here. And I'm quite pleased with this bit here. I like how close the track gets to the ground without the trains actually clipping the ground. I think that looks pretty cool. It definitely, like, this is Expedition Everest style of track, but it's right up against the ground. In fact, I don't even think you can see a gap. I think the spine of the track actually goes into the ground. But like I said, the train wheels still run fine because the rails are raised up slightly, so that's not a problem either. I'm waiting for my test guy to get back to me and say he can hear me okay. He hasn't said anything yet. So maybe you guys can't hear me after all. Other new sections of the ride. This bit over here. It used to just go up and down a couple of times and then go into a tunnel. The tunnel is still there, but I added this new straight section in where it banks quite a lot. And again, gets quite close to the ground without actually touching it. We got bits like this where the ground comes a little bit close to the track, but it leans the other way, so it's cool. Oh, my test guy can hear me. That's good. That's good. Any other changes that I've made? Again, just terraforming, raising the land. I adjusted the speeds a little bit in this tunnel, which you can't actually see inside because it's very, very dark in here. This lift hill is now entirely underground in tunnel. I've also changed the severity of this drop. It's now a lot steeper than it used to be. I think it's actually the steepest drop on the ride, which you know, that's pretty cool as well. Got a banked turn here, which is at a slightly different angle than it was before. This whole section of track I am considering rebuilding. I don't really know. Like, I like this bit here, and then I like this bit here, but I think the rest of this is a bit boring. So I was thinking of having a large sweeping right-hand helix there, and then it swoops round into the brakes. That may or may not happen yet, though. We'll see. Because I like to have as equal number of left-handers as right-handers, and at the moment there is way more left-handers than right-handers. Just every big drop, like there's one over here as well, which is a left-hander. There's one up in the split section up here. You see it gently drops this way to the right, and then it does a really sharp left-hand helix, and it does another left-hander here into the tunnel. There's a right-hander here, but it's quite a slow one. And then if you go into this section, there is a right-hander there, I suppose. That's quite evened out. I like this little rise and fall over the brakes as well. There's just enough space to get underneath. So you get a nice little head chopper effect as you hit the brakes. This whole area here will eventually get lifted up, and this area will be obscured from view. But for now, that's what it looks like, and I can show you guys what it rides like. If we go into the play, bear with me 1 second whilst I get the camera angle in the right place. Let's go buffer cam actually. Do that. I need to go through the front of the train like that and stop like that. Let's do this for train 2 just so we get to go around quicker. Here we go. I'm going to try and talk you through the ride as best I can whilst I do this. Just so that, whoops. That's what happens when you come in and out of the game. So here's the rise and fall heavily banked section. See, it conforms to the ground quite nicely. Goes into the tunnel at quite a slow speed. Then it hits the little brakes there, just to slow it down ready for this curve. And here's the first lift hill. And you can see already, it's all in darkness. It's a bit like Thunder Mountain, this section. It's all in darkness. Done it again. There we go. I keep just tabbing out to see that this is actually working properly, and in doing that I messed the camera angle up. Think about there it was. You see this lift hill is a lot slower than it used to be, and again it's because you're in the tunnel. I was thinking of having the track bank maybe left and right as you go up, just to put in a fear factor, but might see about doing that at a later date. I also like the way you sort of dangle over the drop here before you go flying down. I think that's good for fear factor, because this isn't the most extreme ride. Compared to the other two, it's almost a family ride. You know, you've got Psycho with, I think it's 6 or 7 inversions, and then you've got Thunder with its massive drops. And you know, Manic Miner sort of, it goes into the category of family coaster, really. At least certain factors do, like this part of the ride does. The first drop is quite severe, and that's where the fear factor comes into it. It's sort of the coaster that a kid might go on between something really, really small and like the first inversion coaster they ever go on. That sort of category is what this falls into. It's like a warm-up ride. So that was the end of the first section, which, apart from the lift hill being undercover, that first section, well, I suppose it's the second section really, but that part of the ride hasn't changed at all. This part of the ride, again, the actual track layout hasn't changed, but the way the terraforming has gone and the terrain, that has changed. Now, this section of the ride I like to call the Eye of the Storm, because you got the first section where it's got sweeping curves and it's got the big drop. This section hasn't got a big drop at all. It's more of a gentle, runs at a constant pace, doesn't really speed up or slow down until the brakes. So you got this gentle manoeuvring bit here. And you can see the train slowly starts to get faster and faster and faster as it goes along. And once it starts to pick up speed, it doesn't slow down again until the brakes. So we've got a little right-hander here, and then it goes into the sharp left-hander, which is the drop as well. Probably the biggest drop on this section is this bit here. You see now it's picked up speed. There's a small rise and fall, but it stays very low to the ground from this point onwards. So it has a little right-hand helix here. Dips down under the track, goes into the left-hand transition, which goes over the water. There will be splash effects added later on. Again, a bit like Thunder Mountain, but this isn't a replica of Thunder Mountain in any way, shape or form, and I'm sure you guys have spotted that already. So that's the second set of brakes, or the third set of brakes if you count the ones leading up to the lift hill, although they're trim brakes, not block brakes, so it doesn't really matter. Now we go into the third hill. This is the tallest hill on the ride. I think it's also the fastest hill on the ride, just to get you up to the top that bit quicker. And then we get to the fork switch at the top, where I believe this train goes left, because we started in the right hand platform, therefore we fork left. If you start on the left hand platform, you fork right. So we're approaching the top, getting ever closer, dipping over like that, and then we have the little drop down just to build up speed to get into the fork. 2 tunnels here as well to hide where the track goes once you go into them. So you fork off to the left. You might think that the right hand side is just a storage track. I don't know. It's open to interpretation. The next thing you know, you come out of the tunnel. I need to fix that terrain there because it looks a bit ugly. Again, you're quite close to the ground at this point. You drop slowly down to the right. All this back bit here will be terrained as well, made to look like a mountain. And then you go into this sharp left-hand helix, which drops you down and up again. And then you go into this little meandering section, which again goes into another left-hand helix. It's very left-hand biased, this section, but then it is the left fork, so we drop down into this tunnel, come out of the tunnel round to the right. Again, this would be quite low to the ground, build up some suspense. Nice little jigged section there, just to get the airtime going. And then you rise up into these brakes, which slow the train down. And then you drop into this tunnel here. You go round underneath the other track, because you notice you were in the right hand brake there, but you remerge here on the left hand side. And then you hit the brakes. Track is already set, so off you go. That's for this case. I think for the next train, the red train, which you can just see going up the lift hill there, you have to stop and wait. Now this is the surprising finale to the ride. For those of you who've watched the previous video, you'll know exactly what happens here, but I've added the tunnel in now, and the terraforming, and you get launched. I think it's 80 kilometers an hour you go, which is about 50 miles an hour, which is actually quite fast for a coaster like this. And you go up into yet another left-hand helix, drop down into a little banked S-bend, and then another left-hand helix. You can see it's slowly starting to spiral up here, and then it drops down sharply to the left to go into the inside, rises up again, and then drops down and up into the trims and up onto the lift hill. And from here it's basically transports and gravity which takes you back to the station. You've got the transfer table here to go into the storage tracks, although I'm tempted to move these storage tracks to elsewhere on the ride, purely because I think they look a little bit ugly. I think something else could go in there instead, like some scenery, some theming, something like that. But yeah, that's Manic Miner. We'll watch this train go back into the station, because again we left on the right hand platform, so I'm sure you guys can work out which platform we're going to re-enter on, but I'll wait for it to show you guys anyway. Hopefully we don't have to stop and wait outside. I think I've got the train timings coordinated enough so that you can see what platform we're going to go into without having to wait for the train in front to clear. I think I've done it right. I spent about an hour and a half working on timings to try and get the coordination and the synchronization perfect. And I think we're going to have to wait, which is not good. Obviously I haven't got it right at all. Also the track's in the wrong place. Hopefully we're not waiting here for too long. Whilst we are waiting here, I will talk you through what's going to happen. Future plans. That lift hill you can see on the left hand side there, that's the second lift hill. That probably will remain visible once this has been built and finished. That might be the only one that you could actually see from all over the place. The other two lift hills will be obscured via hills, mountains, etc. and trees. Lots of trees. Probably going to bug out my computer doing this, but I'm going to put in as many trees as I possibly can. See the train gets released as we go into the left hand platform. This is all gravity fed, this section. There's no transport wheels or anything. It is purely gravity that takes us into this station. You can see we got I think it's the 3 or the 4 brake stop. So there's one here. There's a second one here. Third one there. And then the fourth one just to fix you in place. And that's that. That's the ride. If I take you into... oh, Pursuit View. That seems new. I don't want Pursuit View. I want Fly View. There we go. So you can see over here, all the trains are running round. As one train goes up the lift hill, the next train goes through the merge switch, into the launch section. We're going to sit here and watch a train get launched because this bit will probably remain visible as well. Or I might hide it. Depends whether you want the surprise factor or not. You can see it's got quite a nice smooth launch. And even once you come out the tunnel over here, it's all nice and smooth. There's not really a rough section of the ride. I think the roughest sections will probably be the curves just before the lift hills, but because you're going at such a slow speed, you don't really notice that anyway. So that's all well and good. And I like these little raised sections in the middle of the helixes because it keeps everything nice and hidden. You can see there, it rises up into the brakes, like so, and then up into the lift hill. I might make that a little bit quicker, and I think I am going to move these storage tracks to somewhere else because also here, this is the entrance staircase, and you can see how badly affected it's been by these storage tracks. Like, you can't fit a person through that gap, not really. So I will move the storage tracks to somewhere else on the ride. Where? I have no idea. But yeah, guys, that's probably going to be the end of this test stream. Just wanted to set this up quickly so that you guys could see, well, so I could see whether the settings I'd put in were right or not, and so you guys could see what I'd be planning to work on over the next few streams. What's left to say is thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys all come back in next time, although I don't think there's actually that many viewers in here at the moment, but in future streams I'll advertise this on my YouTube channel a bit more often as well. I'm hoping this goes onto the past broadcast screen so that those of you could see what I have done. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.